I, a 22-year-old female, had an upsetting thing happen and I need support. Somewhere to share. I don't know. I'm freaked out. Anyways, I'm a pet sitter. I have been pet sitting in my area while taking college classes for 4 years now. I'm well established and usually very on top of things. This slip could have cost me. Yesterday, I got a call from someone who needed a pet sitter to walk their dog, but they live out of state and were going to be in a hotel room. Sounds sketchy already. I try to see the good in people though, so I pushed forward with a meet and greet, which was today. My boyfriend overheard me talking to my mom about where I was going, and he was immediately suspicious. He told me all about human trafficking and different methods they use. He said he absolutely didn't want me to take the job, no matter what story they gave me. I told him I couldn't just cancel the meet and greet, so he drove me there. I met a woman in her 50s, with her husband and the dog. They said they were here on business, working in construction. Everything went fine. She showed me around their hotel room and gave me instructions for the dog, along with a room key. We talked about my college classes and my future plans, but I was on guard the whole time. I noticed when we entered the stairwell to go upstairs, the husband said he was going to go get the laundry and went downstairs as we went up. So then I was even more on guard. That was a little weird because they had just arrived at the hotel an hour before we met. Why would they be doing laundry? I agreed to the 1 week of walks, gave her my rate, and left. Skip forward to later. We tried digging deeper to find out all we could about these people. My boyfriend searched the phone number the lady gave me, and it gave a lot of information. Addresses, names, a lot more than I expected. Out of all the information we found, the weirdest and freakiest was that the number she gave me was activated in July, 1 month ago. What the heck? I mean, maybe it could be a coincidence, but that's weird. The reason I say my boyfriend saved me is because I didn't think of any of this stuff. Call me stupid if you want. If he didn't overhear me and talk some sense into me, I would have blindly gone through with it. And who knows what would have happened. I'm supposed to start on Tuesday, but I'm gonna make up an excuse and cancel. This is fresh. I, a 17-year-old female to male, but I appeared slightly feminine today, was at Tim Hortons drawing random people, and some guy came up to me, started asking about my drawings. We started a conversation and my work came up and how I was waiting to go to work. He asked me where I worked and what time, and I answered innocently. Then he asked me if I lived alone, which immediately set off some alarm bells, but that's not the root of the story. He tells me he's a truck driver. I said I thought that was a cool job. He left for a couple of minutes to get himself a drink and offered me one. I said no because I don't take drinks from strangers. He walked away saying that he'd come back and talk to me more. After he left, I started getting a really bad feeling, so I texted my mom a description of the man's appearance, which I often do if someone is making me uncomfortable in a scary way. I told her not to worry and just told her it's probably my anxiety. When he came back, he asked if I wanted a tour of his truck. I said no thank you. And when he left me again, I called my mom and told her what just happened, having a panic attack in the bathroom. Then when I sat back down, he came up to me one last time and told me he was leaving. He asked for my Snapchat. I told him I don't have one. I sat in my anxiety and watched him cross the highway to the parking lot of my work, which happens to be a truck stop. He was still there at 10:38. He was there for about an hour and 30 minutes, and I had to be at work till 11. So I thought it was best to ask the Tim Hortons staff to walk me over, but they ended up calling the cops. I didn't want them to call the cops. In fact, I was adamantly against it, but they did it anyway. When the cops arrived, I explained everything, but they were gone by the time everything was finished. I managed to get the police officer to drive me across the road. I feel like I wasted the cops' time because I wasn't in immediate danger, and like I was being dramatic. 3 years ago, me and my friends were swimming late at night in my backyard. We were only swimming at night because it gets super hot here, and it's cooler at night. We were just splashing each other and swimming around, when my friend pointed out a weird little hunched over shape by the little tree where one of our dogs were buried, and I didn't believe her. Eventually the others caught on, so I grabbed my phone and called my dad so he came out and pretended to swim with us. He noticed it too and started yelling at it, which was super annoying and embarrassing, but I'm glad he did because there was someone there. The dude stood up and put his hands up, and my dad threatened to call the police. And the dude started going off about how we were trespassing and in his house without permission, so we called the cops. And they were apparently very familiar with this situation because our landlord's brother was notorious for it. I was literally so unbothered by this, I didn't think about it until the other night when I was telling my friend about this. Make sure to always lock your doors. 23-year-old guy here. I live in a pretty safe neighborhood and usually always lock my doors. Last night, I apparently didn't. It was not too long after I had taken my dogs out for the last time and was turning off the TV and lights when one of my dogs started growling. Not too weird since he sometimes does that when people walk by the house. He only does it to certain people, not everyone. I then heard the front door open and someone walk in. My dog then started barking. My other dog, who loves all people, came running from the other room to greet our guest. At the same time, I was reacting to what was happening and went, "What the fuck? Who are you?" Standing in the hall was a guy in his mid to late 20s. He was skinny and tall. Oh wait, I don't think this is the right place. He genuinely seemed confused. I replied with, "Hell no you aren't. Please get out." He apologized and said he was coming to hang out with a friend, and just accidentally went to the wrong place. I asked him what house he was looking for, and he said a number that was just a couple off from mine. He apologized again and left. He seemed nice and non-threatening, but I was still kinda spooked. This morning I was ready to laugh the whole thing off. I was planning on telling my neighbor, a couple in their 30s, what happened. I don't know them all too well, but we have talked before. Luckily, I caught one of them when I was taking my dogs out. I didn't want to come off like I was mad or scared over what happened, so I casually said, "I'm sure he told you about it, but your friend paid me a surprise visit last night." My neighbor gave me this confused look and said, "What are you talking about?" "Your friend. He walked into my house last night, thinking it was your place." My neighbor was quiet for a second and then said, "I don't want to alarm you, but I have no idea what you're talking about. We didn't have a friend over last night." Hello, chill and thrill seekers. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future videos.